Oh, desk. How I've missed you. Oh, that didn't happen. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Real Talk. I am your maniacal leader, Andrew Vick, and boy, oh boy, do we ever have an exciting episode for you tonight. It is going to be a great time. Got back to basics, going back to basics here. Got news, something in the middle, and then something, you know, the organization of the show. You've probably caught on by now. So, how are you doing? I think you're doing fantastic. And that's right. So now we're going to be leading right into the news. So what's poppin'? It's been a hot minute since we've done this. Starting off with what's poppin', that's always my favorite part. The domestic box office top 5, right at the top. Sonic is still going strong at $26.1 million. That's going to be a focal point later in the show, and you stand by for that. And next up, the second highest grossing domestically, The Call of the Wild. This is the Harrison Ford movie with the CGI dog that nobody knows why is CGI. I mean, couldn't you use a dog? You can use a dog, right? Yeah, they can use a dog, but they didn't use a dog. Anyway, that's the 24.7 million. Who cares? It debuted pretty low, so it's fine. Don't worry about it. And number 3, the movie properly renamed Birds of Harley Quinn's Birdcage in DC's Birds Preying on Harley Quinn's Birds of Emancipation. At $6.8 million. Good for you, Harley. And at number 4, still hanging on into the top 5, is Bad Boys for Life, which is surprisingly the third Bad Boys movie, I think. A little weird. But $5.8 million, it's still clutching right in. Probably going to be gone pretty soon, if I'd have to guess. And finally, at 5, also debuting last weekend, is Brahms, The Boy 2. This is the sequel to a horror film known as The Boy. It's at $5.8 million. It is very, very weird title change. I don't know why they've added Brahms. It's almost kind of like a tongue twister. Brahms the Boy 2, 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 Brahms the Boy 2. Moving on. We got to start with the news, the actual news. This one is actually really recent. Bob Iger is going to be stepping down as the CEO of the Disney company. This is rather surprising. This kind of came out of nowhere. He'll be stepping down pretty soon and be going into the executive chairman position until late into 2021. Bob Chapek, the chairman of the Disney parks, will be taking his role. This is a pretty monumental moment in Hollywood and Disney in general, because Bob Iger has led a 15-year long string. He rose to CEO in 2005, and of course he's retiring from that position now, but from 2005 to 2020, he's had a very long run, but it's been surprisingly successful. It's had the launch of Disney's own streaming service. They acquired Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilms, and Star Wars rights. They bought 20th Century Fox. So you could say he's had a pretty successful run. So we're just going to have to see what happens from here on out with the Disney company. Rather exciting to see what happens, but also not, because it's Disney. Moving on to our next story. This one's kind of a bit of a serious one. Harvey Weinstein, if you remember back in, I believe it was 2017, he was accused by several women of sexual assault. This started the Me Too movement in Hollywood. And on Monday, he was convicted of 2 of 5 charges that he got. He's currently facing 5 to 29 years in prison. And I gotta say, this is a pretty proud moment for a lot of people, because look at that face. This is the face of a monster, and he is getting exactly what he deserves, nothing more than jail time. This is a great moment, and hopefully we can properly move forward from this. So I can't say anything that on air to Weinstein, but we'll just move on from you and hopefully forget you. So moving on to our last bit of big news. This one is actually a suggestion from former home screen host Johan Wyckoff. The Borderlands film is actually getting some traction as it gets a director in Eli Roth. Mr. Roth is known for many horror films in the past, like Hostel, The Green Inferno, but he also did that children's film, The House with the Clock in Its Walls, I think it was called, Jack Black one. So this is kind of an interesting development. Not someone you'd predict to take on a weird variety kind of style as Borderlands, but most video game movies aren't really that good, so you can't expect much, but also it's Borderlands, it's rather zany, probably have like a Deadpool-esque vibe, but it'd be rather interesting to see what would happen with a Borderlands film. No specific date mentioned for the Borderlands film, but probably should expect more news pretty soon. And now let's go on to the trailer recap. We've been gone for about a month or so, maybe two, and we had the whole release, so I missed quite a few trailers. So why don't we catch up on a few right here. So first trailer we got here is for Fast and the Furious 9, or also known as F9. Why is it called F9? I mean, I suppose the last one was called Fate of the Furious, and the seventh one was called Furious 7. Naming conventions in the series don't make sense. So, personally, I'm not really into anime for jocks, but I'm sure some people like this series a lot. F9, that's really weird. I don't understand why it's called F9. But that's going to be coming out later this year. I currently forget the date because I wasn't paying attention. So, F9 coming out real soon. And the next trailer up was for Spiral. Oh my goodness. It's a spiral. You see? It's a real spiral. Let me try to fit my face somewhere here. Ah, yes. This is a perfectly good spot. So Spiral is actually a new addition in the Saw series. This kind of came out of nowhere as well, but so did Jigsaw, I suppose. This starring some, I think Samuel Jackson's in it. I'm personally not a fan of the Saw series. I saw the first one like once, and I thought, yeah, that's enough. That's enough Saw in my life. I don't need to see the other 20. Was there 20 Saw movies? 9? 8? 30? About 1,000? There's about 1,000 Saw movies in existence, and now we have another one coming up soon. I probably won't see it, but I probably will because I have a job to do. So, moving on to our last trailer we're going to be covering today. Oh, thank God. Oh no, it's the Minions. Oh no. Minions, Comcast wants more money. I despise Illumination as a company because they make low-budget, cheap products that can be easily marketed and make their money back no matter what. And I think Secret Life of Pets 2 didn't do too well, so we'll see what happens. But this is the sequel to the Minions movie from long, long ago. Also a prequel to the Despicable Me series as whole. This one is going to be having the Steve Carell character Gru as a child, trying to prove his evil villainess, though I don't know why we should care because we already know where he goes in the other two. I only saw one. So this is going to be a little weird. I'm not a fan of the Minions. I know some aunts who like Minions. They really like Minion memes, those weird things. But this is probably exciting for your Aunt Karen, I suppose. And that's the last trailer we're going to be covering tonight. Now, next up in the show, I'm going to be talking about ye olde Sonic the Hedgehog. But before we do that, I've got another bit of news that came out recently and I want to talk to you real quick about. But first and foremost, we here on this program are accepting of people of all races, religious creeds, and most importantly for this week, sexualities. And what we are not accepting here of on this program is mega corporations, formerly run by Bob Iger. While we get set up for the next section of the show, I'd like to take a moment to explore when a despised corporate entity uses people of different sexualities as a marketing tool.
We promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go!
On Friday, February 21st, Yahoo.com reported that Disney Pixar's upcoming film Onward will be featuring the company's very first self-identified lesbian character into the Disney Pixar universe. Fan-bloody-tastic! It's great that we're finally getting some proper oh wait, no. Sorry, no, the character in question is not actually a main character. Heck, barely even a supporting character. This character is in one scene. And she looks like this. This character right here is just another victim of the Walt Disney Company using the LGBTQ community as a marketing tool. Now that is a pretty controversial statement I just made there, and I have no doubt that a few of you watching probably want to turn this program off. But if you'll allow me just a moment to elaborate what I mean, I think you and I will begin to see eye to eye. The statement I have just made relates to several articles that were published before a film produced by Disney has come out, revealing that in said film that there will be one or more characters who are gay. But when the film comes out, everyone finds out that they were either side characters or just really didn't affect the plot at all. The earliest example I can think of was with the 2017 remake of Beauty and the Beast. In an interview with Attitude Magazine, which I must say is an amazing name for a magazine, the film's director Bill Condon revealed that the character of LeFou, played by Josh Gad, will explore his sexuality in a small but significant subplot during the film. In the film, this all resulted in Josh Gad dancing with a man at one scene near the end. Okay, let's go through the list of problems I have here. Problem number 1, the director lied about the potential sexuality of a character to get butts into seats. Problem 2, the film takes place in France, and the French translation of LeFou is the fool.
Man, that's just mean.
Problem 3, LeFou is also a villain in the context of a film, and if you want to be very granular, a minor one at best. Problem 4, the film was initially banned in Malaysia, but was eventually released there uncut on the ground that the gay elements in the film are minor and it does not affect the positive elements featured in the film. This can be implied that Disney had to agree with Malaysia that what gay elements were in the film did not matter in the long run. Do you see the issue with this? Even one of the largest film series of all time can't escape this. Yes, I'm complaining about Star Wars again. It's almost like a common problem on this show.
Let's kill him properly this time.
Star Wars' first major brush with this kind of controversy was with Solo: A Star Wars Story. While yes, I still have yet to watch this one out of principle, I do remember the articles talking about how the writers were saying that in the film, Lando Calrissian is pansexual. Now, I've done everything for research on the subject except watch the movie, but from my understanding, in the movie, Lando is in a relationship with a female droid. Pansexuality is an emotional attraction to people regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. I'm going to presume this does not include alien beings or machinery into the equation, so basically that's just a straight relationship with a robot. But this isn't the only time Star Wars has had to tangle with this. Anyone remember back in December where articles started coming out that The Rise of Skywalker would contain the series' first lesbian kiss, and when the movie came out, it was just two nameless characters who were in the background? Real progressive there, JJ. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that at the end it's implied that good old Lando is the father of ex-stormtrooper Jannah, so no matter what the Solo writers had to say, at the end he settled with a woman. And now, here we are in 2020 with our new Cyclops cop character who will once again be only in one scene and leave no lasting impact. So how can we hope to accomplish some actual good quality representation in future films? Well, I got an idea. Make actual stories of characters of different sexualities! It's really not that hard. Just write these characters and have them actually impact the plot. You want a recent example that I think works well? Surprisingly, look at Birds of Prey, or whatever it's called this week. I have my own problems with the film, but Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya is not one of them. Renee has an ex-girlfriend, and not only is she involved within the film, she actually has an effect on the story and Renee's character, and it felt natural. Oh hey, and the two of them are also a non-white mixed-race couple. When's the last time you saw that in a superhero movie? Supposedly, the Marvel movies are going to be getting more diverse characters soon, but with everything we've seen so far, I'm just gonna take a firm we'll see stance on it. Because so far, Disney has proven themselves incapable of writing proper representation for this group of wonderful people.
And now, on with the show.
And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little middle segment there. Now, it's time for the real meat of the show. Valentine's Day may have come and gone, but February is all about love. And what could be more romantic than taking the love of your life to a movie meant for 6-year-olds? I am, of course, referring to the smash hit film Sonic the Hedgehog, the film that assumed massive attention when the original character design was revealed to the world, and everyone, including myself, vomited on sight. It has been out for 2 weeks now and has already made more than double its $90 million budget back. But was all this hullabaloo about the original design worth it in the end? If only I knew someone who would die to talk to this movie about me.
Are you giving me the opportunity to tear this movie apart?
By golly, it's Nathan Blaser, co-host of Sons of the Valley. What are you doing under my desk?
I live here.
Yeah, so do a lot of people. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's a good community.
You want to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog?
I would frankly love to.
Well, that's just wonderful. It is Nathan Blaser, everyone. So, Sonic the Hedgehog. What are your general thoughts about it?
Ooh, where to begin, Andy? So, my general thoughts, why don't we start way back at the beginning of this whole journey, you know? Starting with when the initial design was released of Sonic.
I remember that.
God-forsaken nightmare fuel.
The reaction from you, Johan, and the character I will now refer to as DJ McGamerface was just astounding. I can't believe that, the original design.
When I saw that design, I didn't think I had it in me to hate something as much as I hated that.
It was so disgusting, the painted on hands, the human teeth, the eyes.
Yeah, no.
It was all completely wrong. It was just disgusting.
Andy, the thing that honestly terrified me the most after seeing the movie is that there's a scene where it shows what Sonic's foot looks like.
Oh, God.
Yeah, imagine what his feet would have looked like, Andy.
Oh, God. Why did you remind me of Sonic's feet?
I know.
That's
like the
completely
one
forgot
rule.
about Sonic's feet.
The one rule.
That
You don't show his feet.
That just phased right past me. I completely forgot about his feet.
Yeah.
We spent a whole 30 seconds talking about his feet. Where are we in life?
It's called We're Dragging This Movie Down to Where It Belongs, Andy.
Maybe it'd be like the Cats movie, where it's just it's not even CG, it's just a human foot.
No.
And now we have this new design that looks a lot more like the actual Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I'm glad that, if anything, that they actually did take the time to redesign him, because if they didn't, I don't think they would have done so hot.
Yeah, probably not. But let's kind of go into the general thoughts of the character of Sonic as a whole in this movie. Do you think it would have worked at all if it was the old design?
If it was the old design, definitely not. Because first thing that you got to deal with the old design is the fact that it looks like nightmare fuel. Second thing is that Sonic's character in the movie, I actually generally found to just be kind of undesirable. Because to me, it seemed like his entire screen time was filled with either him spouting quips or complaining.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe from him too. Although I like him a lot more with this new design. Although with the old design, anything is better than that. But I can't believe I'm bringing this up twice, but it kind of reminded me of Deadpool in a way. I kind of felt like it was like Kitty Deadpool, just like a little bit with really fast running and less cursing.
I can kind of see the similarities for that, because it's like, both of them, I think they very much did try to go for that character type of, your fast quip funny man kind of thing, but at the same time, it just, throughout the movie, I just couldn't shake the feeling that he was just either trying to go for the quips or just complaining,
Yeah, just a little bit. It's kind of alright. I thought thought him, like the voice actor did an alright job.
The voice actor for what he was given with did a pretty great job, I think.
At least it wasn't like the voice actor for like most of the games.
Yeah.
I played the original Sonic at like a video store like 5 years ago. So I have no connection to this franchise whatsoever. But I thought it was fine character of Sonic. Like, he was fine.
Yeah, Sonic, I don't think, he's not going to be like one of those characters, or this movie isn't going to be something that you look back on like a year or two from now and you're like, man, I really liked how they characterized Sonic in this film.
I mean, I can see like little kids kind of looking fondly back on this.
I could see it too.
Like,
I think his character is good enough for that.
Little kids would kind of enjoy this movie, even though when we went to the theater to see it, it was mostly adults.
Oh yeah, no.
Which was kind of bizarre.
Walking out of that theater, the people who cheered the loudest at the end of the credits were adults. Let me repeat that again.
It's so weird.
They were people who were older than Andy and myself.
Is just looks like we're being told to be sponsored by Olive Garden.
Man, I wish I was sponsored by Olive Garden.
Me
I'd
too.
make a lot more money.
That was kind of distracting a little bit. Did that bother you at all? How the movie just kind of stopped and just advertised Olive Garden twice.
Yeah.
Not once, just twice. Just three. There was three? I thought it was two. But let's get away from the Olive Garden. Let's talk about Zillow. This is weird product placements where it just immediately hits you. And you're just like, wait a minute, why did you do that?
I feel like it was probably a result of the redesign where they had to go and get sponsors or else they wouldn't have been able to like actually have the budget to complete the movie.
I kind of suppose. Like,
That's my theory at least.
it probably cost a lot to redesign Sonic.
Yeah.
So I imagine that sponsors kind of got away with a little bit more than usual, because just tie-in ads is like fine. You can have like a Toyota Corolla in the background. That's fine, but it stopped like several times just to advertise something. And what wasn't there like? I mean, one that was kind of fine was like, was it Sonic shoes are like officially Air Jordans?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of fine. Like, that was integrated a little well-ish.
It's like, I didn't really even notice it until you kind of pointed it out, to be honest. So I feel like it just wasn't.
It's got to be subliminal.
It was smooth,
I can't speak.
It's like
subliminal.
It's like the difference between the Transformers movies where it's just as like
Where
sometimes they're actively saying it, and
where
other times
Manly
they're
Madman from Transformers 4 gets really mad at a pedestrian for yelling at him, so he takes like a Bud Light bottle and breaks it on his door and then just chugs it.
Or like I think there was an earlier scene from like a different movie where they like are just clearly drinking like Pepsi, and it's placed just so that you can notice that it's a Pepsi.
Gotta have the logo out.
It's the difference between those two things, where it's just like subtly drinking a Pepsi and breaking open a bottle to drink from it or whatever.
Just a little bit. Now, let's move on from that so the TV10 sponsors don't yell at us.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik.
Or as I like to call him in reference to this movie, Atlas, because he lifted the world on his shoulders. That man, I will argue, carried this movie more than I have seen people carry other people up the hill.
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
Because, like, every single scene that man was in, whether it was good or bad, I was enraptured.
Yeah, he only takes your focus, but again, I'm not really connected with the Sonic game, so I wouldn't know if this is kind of like how Dr. Eggman is, or if that's just Jim Carrey doing his shtick.
That was, from what my understanding, it was a lot of Jim Carrey doing his shtick, but it was just entertaining enough, I think,
I mean, Jim Carrey, it's good to like see his little shtick. he takes a character and he just commits to it and he goes all the way too. It's kind of nice to like see him do this kind of thing instead of like the weird indie drama that comes out every once in a while. It just has Jim Carrey. I was like, what?
Yeah. But no, I definitely think that there were definitely some scenes that I found just kind of, as much as I loved to rag on this movie, they were a little bit enjoyable just because it was Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey in the scene.
Just a little bit. It's a little sparkle. You sparkled your rice.
It's like, there's one scene that I'm thinking of, and I know that we talked about it, or at least I talked about it after seeing the movie, of Jim Carrey when he's just listening to music or something. That scene, that was.
I feel like he kind of snapped.
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey just kind of broke. And he just lost his mind, and he's going mad. And what is this, Anarchy playlist?
Yeah.
I think Jim Carrey just kind of snapped, and he just did whatever he wanted at that point. Like, this is the Jim Carrey movie now.
Jim Carrey is really one of those actors where I feel like if you really just are stuck with needing like time to fill a screen, you just stick him in a room and then just leave a cameraman in there.
Let's see what happens. Give him a push.
You know, but yeah, no, I definitely, it's my own personal opinion that he carried that movie.
Jim carried it.
Definitely.
How about other human characters? Is there other human characters movie you like? Movie?
You mean human meat people, like such exciting characters like
Cop?
Tom?
Was his name Tom? I've already forgot.
Thomas, Tom, I don't know. They went out of their way to specifically call him Thomas at some points, and that's the only reason I remember it. Otherwise, he would have just been like
Guy.
generic meatbag 3.
Cyclops from the X-Men movies getting a paycheck.
Yep.
Oh, James Marsden, you silly, silly boy. Yeah, all the other human characters felt kind of flat for me. They were just kind of there.
They felt like a vehicle to just get Sonic to do or have a certain reaction.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, the kind of the straight man and the goofy character dynamic that a lot of movies use. Like,
it's not even that, because even the straight man has moments where he's funny.
Right.
It just felt like Tom in particular was just there as a means to cause Sonic to have certain reactions, like some parts that just, it didn't really feel like he had a character. It was just literally just felt like there was a guy there saying things to cause a reaction out of someone.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Speaking of vehicle, let's talk about the plot of the Sonic movie. The little plot there is. Do you remember in the beginning of the movie when Sonic's a little baby because they saw the Mandalorian, they're like, oh, we need one.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like in Sonic World that looks like the game, but this very realistic looking owl, which is definitely left over from the old design. This realistic looking owl is kind of, is like, bad people want to steal your speed, so go away. And then he's trapped in America for 10 years.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I feel like for giving him a reason to have rings and stuff, there's worse reasons. Was it kind of hammy?
You think,
yeah.
You think his rings kind of reminded me of like, you know, like in Marvel movies when Doctor Strange has to like go somewhere, he's like, ooh, I'm gonna make a sparkly ring.
I definitely think they took design cues from that.
Yeah, just a little bit. It reminded me a lot of like the Doctor Strange portals. But also, I found that opening scene just kind of worthless in the end. Like, the owl never comes back, and the little, were those other hedgehogs in the opening?
Echidnas.
Echidnas?
Yeah.
Is that a foreshadowing for Knuckles in the sequel?
I think it was supposed to be, but I don't think it's really gonna matter, to be honest. Given how much that first scene really mattered.
None of the opening scene mattered. Like, I thought like somehow it'd like come back to play a part in the end. No.
You could have gotten rid of that entire scene, and
It was
the
just like a
movie's integrity
little
would have stayed.
reason to have the script take place in the modern world.
Also,
So we can have Blue Hop.
Also, really random point here, but when you saw his like rings, like when you took them out of like his bag initially, didn't you think like of onion rings initially, or was I just really hungry?
I don't know. You might have been craving Olive Garden.
I think. Ooh. Don't get us started on Olive Garden again, Andy.
Oh no.
We can't afford for me to go on another tirade about Olive Garden.
But most of the movie is just kind of Sonic the Hedgehog, like riding in a car to go to San Francisco. Like, out of everything in a movie about a really fast blue hedgehog, that was kind of the biggest stretch for me.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me this thing has been on Earth for about 10 years, and it has never decided to go, like, run around?
To travel?
Because, like, the speed kind of inhibits the plot a bit. Like, there were, like, one or two scenes where, like, Sonic is going faster than the speed of light, probably, mostly stolen from the newer X-Men movies with Quicksilver. But, like, it kind of takes the tension away a little bit, because if he can just move that fast and everything's standing still, why doesn't he just do that, like, all the time?
Yeah.
Like, it clearly doesn't take anything out of him.
And it's implied that he essentially has limitless energy.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's also probably faster than when he went and he ran in the baseball diamond at the beginning of the film and caused that EMP. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks faster, so why isn't it doing it then? Is probably connected to his emotions, because emotions drive every kid's film.
Yeah.
It's always about emotions, friendship. But also, like, it's kind of weird that in a sort of traveling movie, he's just kind of riding in a car for a very long time. Mm-hmm. Like, the character, based upon speed, is sitting down for a lot of the movie.
He's choosing to put his feet up on the dash.
Like,
you know?
And he needs to get to San Francisco because he lost his rings, and they landed on top of the little, what's the name of the triangle building
I don't even
in San
know.
Francisco? Somebody's gonna have to point me out on that.
I feel like if I cared about San Francisco more, I'd remember it, but...
I care about San Francisco.
You care about San Francisco?
No.
Oh, good.
But anyway, he lost his rings, and, like, he needs to go get them back. Mm-hmm. But, like, he can't go run around the world really fast and just find them.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bit where he's, like, before the long car ride, he
just runs to the
all the way to
ocean.
the coast from, like, what was it, Montana?
Yeah.
Was that? And he just comes all the way back in, like,
A second.
at least 10 seconds.
It's literally like 2 seconds.
And he just can't go up and down or find a map.
Yeah. You know, it's like
you are here, go over there.
I'm fine with saying that, like, oh, he doesn't know exactly where to go. I'm fine with if you're gonna pull that kind of thing, but don't immediately follow it with a scene where he just literally takes 2 seconds to go to the ocean and back, because then that just shows that he could just run around San Francisco.
Yeah, he didn't, like, immediately, like, run up the side of the building to get his coins. They had to, like, smuggle him through an elevator.
Yeah.
Which also a little unbelievable, because Tom is, like, a wanted criminal.
Yeah, where it showed that his face is, like, on every station.
And yet he clearly shows his ID to, like, a security desk person, and she just lets him go.
All they care about is that he's from Montana. You know, but that's a Sonic movie, I guess.
That's a Sonic movie. Would you recommend the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
If you have younger children in your life, be it brothers, sisters, kids, I would say yes, because I think it is an enjoyable enough movie for them. If you yourself are an adult, I would not recommend it unless you are very forced to.
I kind of have the same sentiments. Like, if you got kids, I think they'll like it, because it's a fast boy and he goes rather fast. But if you're like a Sonic fan, this movie really has nothing for you, because surprisingly, I'm kind of surprised that score didn't have more like musical cues from the games. It was just kind of whimsical violins going like, ving, 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 you know, when you can't write a score. So it's kind of like, who's the movie for? It's not for Sonic fans. Dr. Robotnik doesn't look like Dr. Robotnik until the end of the movie. And Sonic's not even in Sonic Land. There's not even any of the other characters, so what's the point? Why go see the Sonic movie if there is no Sonic movie?
Yeah.
That's my kind of take on it, if that made any sense.
Yeah.
So, Nathan, I gotta thank you very much for coming on the show, talk about this Sonic movie. That was a very fun time, and now I must request you go back under the desk.
Oh no, not back.
Your services are no longer required.
No.
Get down. Goodbye, son. Get lost. Well, that was fun. Thank you all so very much for watching tonight's episode. Be sure to follow TV10 on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and be sure to check out more of our exclusive content here on MyTV10. From all of us here in the studio, we'll be seeing you real soon. Have a good night, Olive Garden.